All right, guys, 1 minute. 1 minute. Thanks for the reminder, Driscoll. 1 minute and counting. 1 minute. Remember, if you're listening to this on the recorded version, about 10 seconds to go in the countdown, start pedaling. By the time the workout officially starts, you're rolling, your timer has started. You have 30 seconds till we get rolling. Ten seconds. Let's roll out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's take it out, guys. All right. Welcome. Thursday workout, all you newcomers. Hey. All right. Andrew, I'll let you explain what's going on here, but it might be more of a team effort. You fill the crew in. Go ahead.
Well, as you guys can see, unfortunately, I am not on a bike this morning. And just to let you know, we have 6 minutes, pretty easy warm up before this gets going. But last Friday, I tore my left hamstring. It's a kind of like pretty intense grade 2, borderline grade 3 tear. So I am not going to be able to ride probably for 3 to 4 weeks. My doctor's optimistic that I'll be back at it within that 4-week range, at least able to pedal easy. So I was pretty bummed when that happened. Obviously had some summer plans, but more importantly, I love the Thursday morning sessions with you guys. And I was talking to Jim thinking, okay, what are we going to do? And we figured we'd give this a try, see how you guys like it. I would recommend today leaving your video on gallery view. So you're not just looking at me since I'm not pedaling, but hopefully if you leave yourself in gallery view, you'll see all your teammates pedaling. You'll see Jim demonstrating everything. And obviously during any crucial moment, Jim can kind of swap the camera over to himself to demonstrate the form. But, you know, much like we do on the track or at the pool, these Thursdays are workouts that I've designed for you guys and that I really love doing with you and that fit into the overall program. So I still wanted to be here to be able to give the educational side of it. You know, all these workouts are workouts I've done, so I'm not pedaling today. I know exactly what each point of it feels like. They're all fresh in my mind. I've probably done this workout or variations of this workout and all the ones that I create 50 to 100, probably more like 100 times during my time on the bike. So today I'm just going to stay with you guys and coach you through it, and we'll work through it together. Try to ignore the fact that I'm not pedaling, because I wish I was with you guys. That's how I love to do these workouts, but we're going to give this a go today, have the timer going. I know where we're at in the workout, and we'll see how it goes. But we have another few minutes of easy riding. It's just a 6-minute ramping warm up, but all through zone 2. So today's workout is, it's a pretty intense one. Every minute goes up. You're going to go 55 to 60, 65, and we're going to cap out with a minute at 70%. And then we're going to get into 4x30 30s, which is super familiar. 30 seconds hard and 90%, followed by 30 seconds easy. Today's workout is a really hard one. You've done a variation of it already, but doing it the way I have it designed today is very challenging. And that's because we're doing the hardest part first. We are doing the zone 4 effort, the first 2 minutes, followed by settling back into zone 3 for 3 minutes. And we repeat that pattern for 12 minutes. So the overall pattern is 2 minutes, zone 4, 3 minutes in zone 3, and you run through that for 12 minutes. So obviously I'll walk you through it. This workout is kind of, if you think about it in swimming terms or in pool terms, it's really similar to when we do hard takeouts. Yes, most of the time we get on the bike in a race, we get on the bike on a climb, and we can build into our effort or ease into our effort. But there are also times where the way the race is or the terrain dictates that we have to get out of transition and get on the bike and go hard immediately. A few cases that come to mind are anything that starts up a hill, right? Or with a little roller. Or if you're coming out of transition in a bunch of traffic, you want to have the ability to be able to go hard. Maybe you don't want to sit in the middle of 40 other people right there. You say, if I can go hard for 2 or 3 minutes, I can separate myself from this kind of mess of a big group and settle into my race and ride my own pace. Obviously, we don't want to do that too many times over the course of a full half or full Ironman, but it's a good skill set to develop, just like being able to do a fast takeout 25 or a fast takeout 100 in your swim to separate yourself can be of high value. So we have another 1.5 minutes easy spinning, and then we go right into the 30-30s. But this workout's really challenging. I'll tell you a little bit more about how you can adjust it with up and down arrows when we have the few minutes easy after the 30-30s. For now, you have 1 minute coming up at 70%, and then we go straight into the 30-30s. So it's a pretty, abbreviated warm up, and then we're into the meat of the workout. It's very rude, just like it can be very rude to get in the water and all of a sudden be doing a takeout 100, or get out of transition and be doing a super hard effort to separate yourself from the group or start right uphill. Yeah, another 45 seconds here. And then we go straight into the first 30-30. On these 30-30s, think about progressing your cadence through each one. You want to maybe start the first one 80 to 90 RPMs, maybe the second one 90 to 95. And by that fourth 30-second hard effort, we want to try to be at 100 plus RPMs to really just wake the body up physically and neurologically. So 15 seconds, and then we're into that 30-30. Five seconds, 3, 2, 1, 30 seconds hard here. Here we go. It's at 90%. Try to keep that cadence around 80 to 90 RPMs. And we just ramp up through it. Settle into each one. This is still early. If you're on your time trial bike, you can do this in the arrow position, or you can do this out on the hoods, whatever's comfortable for these 30-30s. 5 seconds left. 3, 2, 1, easy. And when it's easy, just spin it out, nice and relaxed. What you'll want to do, as we always do, is about 3 to 5 seconds before that 90% effort begins, you'll want to ramp the cadence up a little. It's much harder on the trainer to bring the cadence up once that power requirement hits. Much easier to do it while we're still in the recovery mode. So 5 seconds, ramp that cadence up. 2, 1, here we go. This one, maybe 90 plus RPMs, waking the body up a little more. Good job. Work through it. Wake up. It's just a nice gradual warm up. Everybody's faces look good. Everybody looks nice and happy at 90%. It's only 30 seconds, but I like to see that. 5 seconds left. And easy. One benefit of doing it this way, unexpected benefit, I can pay attention to how everybody is actually looking a little more on the bike. I do wish I was suffering through with you guys, but this will have to do for today. Like I said, gallery view is probably your best bet. So you're not just looking at me, you're looking at all your teammates as well as Jim to get through this workout. 5 seconds, and then we're into the third one. 3, 2, 1, cadence up. Third rep. I really like these 30-30s when we have sustained efforts. There's something I used while racing. There's something Jim has used for a long time. They're just nice, quick ways to get the body warmed up when we only have an hour and we're trying to get the most work in. These are very, very efficient. 5 seconds left. 2, 1, and easy. All right, 30 seconds easy, and then we're in the last 30-30. This one, if you're comfortable with it, you might want to do in your arrow position, in your aerodynamic position, just to make sure the body's comfortable there. Work through the warm up. We're going to try to do the bulk of the main set in that aerodynamic position. Might be challenging. Three, 2, 1. Ramp that cadence up. Try to get over 100 RPMs for this last rep. Bring that cadence up. This is higher than you're going to need to do during the efforts, the main efforts of the set, but it's a good wake up neurologically to get over that 100 RPM mark. Five seconds left. And easy. All right. So, like you always do early on, but make sure you're fueled up. You know, I don't know if you had any food before getting on, but this is a high demand workout. Out of each 12-minute block that we have in the main set, you have just over 3 minutes easy now, just so you know. Easy spinning, recover. But this main set, each 12-minute block, there's 6 minutes of zone 4 in it. So it's very demanding. We cap it off. It's 2 minutes zone 4, 3 minutes zone 3, 2 minutes zone 4, 3 more minutes in zone 3, and then you cap the 12 minutes off from 10 to 12 minute mark with zone 4 effort. That zone 4 effort is broken down. The first minute is the hardest. It's 98% for 1 minute. That drops to 95% for the second minute. And then the 3 minute zone 3 block drops to 85%. Now it's built that way because if you're feeling great today, you're feeling good, you're feeling strong, you're feeling recovered enough, you can hit the workout exactly as prescribed. You've all done the training. I've watched you do it. Physiologically, you can do this effort. Especially this first one, starting that hard will be very uncomfortable, but you can do this. If you're a little fatigued from training, if you just woke up this morning, you're like, you know, this is not maybe my best day, or you just want to build into the workout a little bit more, zone 4 and zone 3 are ranges. So if you were doing this outside, zone 4 would be 93%, maybe 92, all the way to 100. Zone 3 would be 81, 82%, all the way to 89%. So as I always do, I build this workout so that if you need to, or if even you'd like to, if you're a little concerned by looking at it, use that down arrow, especially for this first rep. Use that down arrow, and you don't have to turn it up and down during the effort. You can just bring the whole effort down a little bit, and you will still be in the prescribed ranges. You'll still be in zone 4 and zone 3. But if you want to build into this workout a little more, that's an option for you. If you want to give this first effort a go as is, by all means, get into it, go for it. But like I said, give yourself a little leeway. If you want to build into the 3 reps, I would prefer that you back this first one down a little bit and try to finish as prescribed versus, you know, trying this first one as prescribed and then having to back down the last one. Either way, use that down arrow if you need to. Typical question, there's no need to use that up arrow. If you can execute these blocks as prescribed, that's plenty of stress on the body. So give it a go, but keep that in mind. You can use the down arrow before we even get into this first rep. You can adjust it during. I want you to be able to work through these. You can work through these. If this was reversed and you were doing 3 minutes of zone 3 first, it would likely feel easier. Physiological demand is the same. So it's also a mental exercise in coping with that immediate kind of whack over the head, hard zone 4 effort. 30 seconds and we're going to get into it. "20 seconds, easy spinning." So remember, first 2 minutes are the hardest, and we go down to 85%. If you need the down arrow at any point, use it. You'll still be in the right zones. 10 seconds. 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Here we go. You're almost at threshold, 98%. If you're on your time trial bike, try to execute in the aerodynamic position. If you can't, that's okay. Come out here for the zone 4 blocks and then get back in here for the zone 3. But if you can, execute this in your race position. Cadence today is your choice throughout. It's logical. Likely you're going to want higher cadence for the zone 4 first 2 minutes, and then settle into that race pace type cadence for the zone 3. But work through these. 1 minute very hard, 1 minute backs down, and then you have 3 minutes at 85% to quote unquote recover. You're almost through the first minute, so just work through these. It's as much a mental exercise as it is physical. 10 seconds here and it drops to 95%. You've got this. 2, 1, and we're at 95%. So still zone 4, but a little bit less than that first minute. I know for me, doing efforts like this, I was not a strong starter in time trials or on climbs. This was always incredibly hard, and there was a lot of value in reversing the effort instead of building into it, from making yourself do the hardest bit first and then settling into that zone 3. 30 seconds left here, then we're in zone 3. Good job. See a lot of nice higher cadences. That looks good. 15 seconds left here. Five seconds. 3, 2, 1. Now we're at 85% for 3 minutes. Just steady zone 3. Everybody's faces look good. I like it. Jim puts you through the ringer so much on Tuesday with all the zone 4, 2 minutes. You guys are like, this is easy. Tuesdays, you were 5, 6 minutes there. So you have 3 minutes here. The point of this workout is exactly what the title is. If you are on your time trial bike, I definitely want you trying to do these zone 3 blocks, these 3 minutes at zone 3 in the aerodynamic position. Try to stay there. And if you need a break from that position during the 12 minutes, come out of that for the zone 4 efforts. This workout is exactly what it sounds like. You're doing over-unders. All of this is within your capability. All of these efforts are likely above even our half Ironman, or definitely above our half Ironman race pace. But what you're teaching the body to do is become comfortable with that little bit feeling of panic, that little bit, okay, I started out hard. This is hard. I can't sustain this. Okay, but let's back down. But instead of backing down to 70% or 75 or soft pedaling, you're only backing down to 85%. And while it feels uncomfortable and it takes a few minutes for the heart rate to normalize and everything internally to return to that zone 3, 3 minutes is a long enough block that with all the training you guys have put in, it will return. So if a coach is looking at the graph of your heart rate and power, it will track. The heart rate will come back down, back into zone 3, and you will settle in during these 3 minutes. And then you'll make yourself do it again. So running through this pattern is of high value. It's something you need to be able to do, another skill set to develop for race day. Climb comes, a headwind comes, you have to pass people, steep kicker comes, you want to get out of a group or out of transition ahead of a group. You have to be able to change gears. We talk about changing gears all the time in the pool. It's one of Jerry's favorite topics. And I know in Jerry's opinion, the ability to properly change gears is what differentiates some of the best, both professional and age group athletes from the rest of the pack. That real differentiation between here, we're in zone 4, we're hard, and now this is zone 3, these clear gear changes. So this workout, there's a clear difference between the efforts. Just over 30 seconds here, and we do another round. You're back in zone 4 for 2 minutes. Don't be afraid or bashful about using that down arrow if you need to. You'll still be in the zone. I want you guys to get through this workout smoothly. "15 seconds here, and then we're back into that hard zone 4 effort. "5 seconds. 3, 2, 1. You likely want to bring that cadence up a little bit. And this first minute of the block is the hardest. 98%. You're almost at threshold here. For me, I know my preferred cadence when near threshold, bringing it anywhere into that 90 to 100 RPM range, puts a lot of load on the cardiovascular system. And as the power goes down, you can drop that cadence back down towards that race pace, 80 to 90. Just like what's on the screen, work through each minute, 30 more seconds at this intensity, and then it backs off a little. But work through it with 30-second blocks, minute blocks, whatever you need to do. Use those mental tools we've worked on to get through these intense 2 minutes. 5 seconds and we go to 95%, still in zone 4. Everybody's faces everybody looks good. Everybody's happy. It's a little easier than the Mambo. Cadences look good. Again, cadence is your choice throughout today. You can be down at 80 to 90 right now if you want. You can be up at 90, 95, even 100 if you want to. You can play around with it and see how that shifts the load from higher cadence more to the cardiovascular side, lower cadence more to the muscular side of things. 25 seconds and you're recovering in zone 3. Work through it. Good job. 10 seconds here. Three, 2, 1, and we're settling into zone 3. All right. This is 85%. Again, if you're on your time trial bike, I want you to try to make sure you're in the aerodynamic position for the 3-minute zone 3 blocks of this 12 minutes. If you have to come out for the zone 4, no problem, but try to get back into that aero position for zone 3. Mentally, it's as if you were going up a kicker, you're going up the climb, you have to come out, you're going a little slower where aerodynamics isn't as important for those 2 minutes in zone 4. And then boom, we're over the top, we're back on the flats, you're back in that tucked aerodynamic position, settling back into zone 3, finding your race cadence. These are long, sustained blocks of work at 12 minutes, but they're broken into these pieces that both physically break it up, but also mentally break it up. So you don't need to look at it as 12 minutes, you just work through it. And I wouldn't be surprised, I know it's always that way for me. You're gonna work through another just under 2 minutes here in zone 3. And then we cap this 12-minute block with 2 more minutes in zone 4. But when you know it's the final 2 minutes, it's kind of interesting to pay attention to how you feel of an effort versus that middle 2 minutes you just completed in zone 4. It might have felt very challenging. It is very challenging, but the final 2-minute block coming up in just a minute and a half, I wouldn't be surprised if in a way it almost feels easier because you know you just have to work through that 2 minutes and then you get some rest. All right. Just over a minute here. Make sure you nail the basics even during the zone 3. Even if you're not putting in solid fuel, the hydration, like Emily mentioned, super, super important. Just like if you were in a race, 12 minutes is long enough for a block. You don't want to just wait every 12 minutes to put some hydration in. Make sure you're doing it throughout. 45 seconds here, and then we ramp up for the final 2 minutes of the block. I think my favorite visual is Eli. It's like a virtual race, 2 people next to one another. I love it. Okay, 15 more seconds here, and then you're going to work through the final 2 minutes. These are challenging, these are hard, you're prepared to do it. So you work through each minute. Remember, the first minute is the hardest. 3, 2, 1, here we go. Bite-sized pieces, 30-second blocks or the minute block as prescribed. Just work through this and finish this 12 minutes up strong. You have some nice recovery coming up. See some of you working to stay in the aero position for this final 2 minutes. Good job on that. That's a big, big ask of the body. Good work giving it a shot. 20 more seconds here, and then we're still in zone 4, but you're in the final minute at 95%. Everybody can do a minute. You know you can do that. Should mention, I see somebody utilizing it. Eric's doing it. You can stand up for a moment if you need to, use different muscles, ease that seated kind of sustained pain, and standing's definitely okay at this point in the effort. You're in the final minute, just work through it. Little blocks. I'll tell you when it's over. You don't even need to stare at the clock. You can just look down and focus on the effort. "30 seconds left here." Good job. Everybody's looking good getting through this. 15 seconds. Three, 2, 1, and spin it out. 5 minutes easy here. Nice long recovery. Good job. All right. Immediately, as always, with the recovery periods, if you want it, if it feels too challenging, if you want it to be easier, you can use the down arrow. The recovery is only that. It's just to recover. Okay. A lot of times in the pool or on the track, we have standing recovery or maybe a very, very easy bit of recovery. The bike, same thing applies. This 5 minutes is to put some more fuel in. We're burning through glycogen here. Whenever you're in zone 4, no matter how efficient you are, you're burning through glycogen. You can be the most efficient human in the world. When you're at 98% of threshold, you're burning through sugar. There's just no getting around that. We go down to 80%. Some of the work we do can change what we're burning and how we're utilizing our fuel. But this workout, you are spending 6 minutes per 12-minute block in zone 4. So being properly fueled, very, very important. 4 more minutes, nice and easy. This ability to shift gears is something, the reason I'm incorporating it more, and we've done a workout like this in the past, but kind of reverse, where we started in 80, 85%, and then, you know, they were under overs instead of over unders, is that when I came into triathlon, one of the mistakes I made was thinking, but I mean, you want to do a steady effort. We want to look at that chart after an Ironman or a half, and we do. We want to see a very steady output. But what I realized is that just as in cycling, just as in really any sport, you need to, or actually more so than in running on, say, a flat marathon, we need to be able to change gears. We have to be able to adapt to the terrain and to the people around us. If we only train at that steady, whatever our goal pay, if your goal is 250 watts for a half Ironman, and we train at 250 watts and you are incredibly efficient at 250 watts metabolically, you feel good there, but we never go above that. If there comes a point in the race, half Ironman like Santa Cruz comes to mind, Coeur d'Alene actually, which, you know, is an incredibly hilly course, comes to mind, but you will not be efficient in anything other than 250 watts or below. But to average that 250, you might need to go up to 260, to 270 for a moment. We have to be able to change gears. And what I want you guys to do is, even if you don't have a power meter telling you, right, heart rate won't fluctuate quickly enough with it. If your power meter wasn't working on race day, I want you to know what changing gears feels like. I want you to know what an easy 60% warm-up is, and then what a hard 2 minutes in zone 4 feels like. So you can be very in tune come race day with what your effort is like. Because at the end of the day on race day, so many external factors can influence that. It's not just about power. It's really about that feel and knowing, okay, I'm at this zone 3 feel. And maybe that's at your goal power for the day. Maybe it's not, depending on humidity and temperatures and a million other factors. But altitude, if you're racing at altitude, that changes power numbers. But I want you to get really accustomed to this feel of changing gears between zone 3 and zone 4. The same will apply to zone 2 and zone 3. That one's a little easier to differentiate. Another minute and a half here. Remember, fuel, the pattern is the same for the next 2 efforts. They're long, but you don't need to think about 12 minutes. You think about 2 minutes and 3 minutes. You can break it up that way, or 1 minute, 1 minute, and then 3 minutes. Same thing. If you got through that one at full power and you're thinking, I don't know if I can do 2 more of those, down arrow for this middle one, maybe try to ramp it back up for the last one, or down arrow for these last 2 reps. You are in the zone. The only downside of indoor training is that it's at a very specified power rather than a range. So we adapt by taking control and using those arrows to make sure that the workout, that you are going to be able to get through the workout. 30 more seconds easy. I told Jim the pain of riding through this workout would be much preferable to the pain of that I'm feeling sitting here right now with this hamstring. I debated sharing a picture with you guys to start, and Jim's like, "Oh, I don't know if that's a good idea. They don't want to see that here. Maybe on the coach's call." 10 more seconds here, and then we're into it. Remember, we start hard. Ramp that cadence up a little bit now. 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1. You're into it. Remember, if you're going to come out of that aerodynamic position, over here on the bars, the zone 4 block is the time to do it. I think the pool is where I've felt the most panic from doing a hard effort and then having to settle in at a still high level sustained effort, much like I would do in every half and full Ironman swim start. This is similar to that. You're very capable of this. You just have to work through the feelings of the little bit of panic or discomfort that comes with starting very hard. And then instead of easy recovery, that zone 3 recovery. 5 seconds and we go down to 95%, still in zone 4. But it's a very valuable skill because what we feel does not always correlate to what we're capable of. It might feel uncomfortable. It might not feel good, or you feel like you can't sustain it. But after a minute of zone 3 or a minute and a half physiologically, your body settles in and you realize you can do this. And mentally, you also realize you can work through this. "30 more seconds here, and then we're into zone 3. Good job. These are hard. So if you're feeling it, you're not alone. These are hard efforts. Anything in zone 4 is going to be challenging. Four, 3, 2, 1, and let's settle into zone 3 effort. We're down at 85%. This is sustainable. If you have been at full power and you're thinking 85 is a little too hard and you just want to knock the power down a little bit towards 83, 82% for this 3-minute block, that's also an option. That's also a way for you to control this workout, is bring that zone 3 effort down a little bit and full power for the zone 4 efforts. At the end of the day, the athlete, you guys, you have to make those decisions. I can make the recommendations, I can build the workouts, but just like if you're in a pool, just like if you're on the track, ultimately, what you're able to do on the day is something only you can decide and check in with your body. And that's, as a coach, that's what we try to do is empower athletes to be in tune with your body, to know, do I need to back it down a little bit, or can I sustain it right here? I've never had an athlete become overtrained or burnt out who makes the choice to back it down a little bit. Conversely, somebody who pushes to the absolute max or is using the up arrow because they think there's more value today, no need for it. We want to push, but in a positive, sustainable way. Just over a minute and a half, zone 3. Settle in here. Reminder, if you can, this is your comfortable goal race cadence, probably somewhere in that 80 to 90 RPM range. This power demand is still above what you'd race a half Ironman at. So it is challenging, but keep in mind, you could likely do this 85% for an hour plus in a relatively controlled way with the training you guys have put in. A lot of benefit if you can tuck into that aerodynamic position for these 3 minutes in zone 3. All right, 45 seconds and we're back into that zone 4 effort. You just work through it. It's not 12 minutes, it's 1 minute coming up. That's all you have to focus on. I told Jim I had some of my favorite training when my coach went during my cycling days. He obviously couldn't ride with me, but he could come on the little scooter, motor pacing, you know, in front of me and next to me. So we would do these 6 and 7 hour rides and he'd just be on the scooter with me. And I said, well, maybe this will turn out like that. I'm in a seat, but maybe it's like I'm on a scooter with everybody. 10 more seconds here. Get ready to ramp up. You might want to bring that cadence up a little bit right now before that power hits. 3, 2, 1. Here we go. 1 minute. You're almost at threshold. This is hard. But also keep in mind your threshold. You've done above this power for 20-minute tests. You've done above this power. So you can definitely work through a minute, 2-minute block. Michael Mallow looks like he's hardly breathing. I think it's too easy for him. Thirty more seconds here. Everybody looks strong. This is putting a smile on my face this morning. You guys are working through this. It's a challenging effort, but you all look good. 10 more seconds here, and then it goes down to 95%. Mentally, we're getting the hardest bit out in that first minute. Work through it. Here we go. 1 minute, 95%. You're still in zone 4. You can do this. Same way we talk about developing the physical tools, this workout is a big opportunity to develop the mental tools. It puts you up against that upper edge of discomfort over and over and over. And as you become accustomed to that and adapted to it, it becomes less scary, becomes more familiar. When you bump up into that feeling, that barrier on race day, you'll be familiar with it. It'll be like an old friend rather than something unfamiliar. It's the unfamiliar that's scary. Once we've done it, not so scary anymore. 20 seconds here. Good job. 10 seconds. Three, 2, 1. Okay, back it down. 3 minutes, 85%. Remember, I want you guys, in a perfect world, I want you to be able to finish the last 2 minutes of this block strong. So if we need to back down somewhere, this 3 minutes in zone 3 right here, this is a place to back down the power a little bit to aid that quote unquote recovery, but you are recovering in zone 3. The heart rate normalizes, you can hydrate, you can put in some fuel if needed. You just have to give it about a minute for the heart rate to catch up with the power dropping. This is also a very useful workout from the coaching perspective, because when we look at your heart rate tracking power later, it's very indicative of your overall aerobic fitness, especially that high end zone 3, and even threshold is still aerobic, to see how how quickly that heart rate comes down as we move back into zone 3. So you're giving all of us a big helping hand by executing this workout while putting a huge deposit in for yourselves. Another just over a minute and a half here. It's a good opportunity during these 3 minute blocks to just settle into that rhythm. Go to that mental place where you're just ticking it out, ticking it over. You know you can do these efforts. You know you can work through them. Just let your body take over for these 3 minutes. You don't need to overthink them. Just settle into that rhythm. Try to tuck into that arrow position. And then you'll finish these final 2 minutes strong. For me, these changing gear workouts were some of the most satisfying. I'd always finish them. It's a unique thing to try to take an hour and take something that might typically take 2 to 3 to even be interspersed in 4 hours and find ways to condense it into the time we have available. And that's what impresses me the most about you guys committing to this kind of work is it's very hard. It's very challenging, but it's super, super high return. And we'll talk about it after we wrap this up, but the amount of work you guys are getting done in a 60-minute block today is impressive. It's not something I did during my racing days. 20 more seconds here, and then you're going to finish it off. Final 2 minutes. You can work through the final 2 minutes. Stand for a second if you need to shift positions, engage different muscles. But this is as much a mental exercise these last 2 minutes as physical. 3, 2, 1, here we go. 98% for 1 minute, you're almost at threshold. Just work through it. These are the type of efforts where that visualization, that picturing the finish line, obviously in a triathlon, you're running to the finish line, but still envisioning that space, that finish, that feeling of contentment you get when you finish a race well, when you finish it strong, that's what you can draw on here. You have that experience, put it to use. Twenty more seconds here. And it's dropping down to 95%. Final minute. Everybody can get through 1 minute. I know everybody will get through this. Finish strong, then a nice 5-minute recovery. Everybody's looking a little sweatier, a little harder than the first round, but you guys are doing great. Work through it. Sometimes just a change of cadence, either lower or higher, can break up the suffering, basically, in this final 30 seconds. Work through it however you need to. 20 seconds left. You guys have got this. Ten seconds. 3, 2, 1, and easy. I have a big smile on my face because I just saw a few faces do exactly. I know exactly what you're feeling because it was that bit of pain, that bit of panic in the final minute, and then it stops and it's easy right now, and it's this wonderful feeling of relief, and it puts a smile on my face to see everybody working through that, because I know it's challenging. By doing this work, honestly, you're putting yourselves by choice through a level of discomfort that the majority of people, I mean, maybe not the majority of people we all know because you're on here doing this, but the majority of people will just never experience, especially intentionally and by choice. So you're doing something pretty special by committing to this work, and that's also part of sport. You're expanding your mental capability, you're expanding your physical capability. But the fact that you choose to show up for this, that you choose to pursue this and do it, it's fun to see. I've ridden with plenty of my athletes, but I've actually never done a session where I've just stood in the pure coaching role and gotten to take it in. And this must be what Jim gets to do every time on the pool deck or at the track. But it's really fun to see you guys work through all of those different emotions. I know all the kind of those mental hurdles that come up during efforts like this, but you're developing every time we do this, every time we work through discomfort. Obviously, massive physiological benefit to this type of work. You're training yourself to recover at a very high end zone 3 effort after threshold. Something you're all capable of doing, but if we don't train it, you're not going to be able to do it. So we have to do it, and we have to practice it over and over and over. But you're also developing that mental skill set so that come the uncomfortable moments of race day, you know, often in a half or a full Ironman, it's a more of a slow burn. The intensity is lower than what you're doing today, but the feelings are the same. These feelings of, this is really uncomfortable. This patch, I don't know if I can sustain this. Just as you do in this workout, if you encounter that on race day, you can always just back that effort down a little bit. Doesn't matter if it's the swim, the bike, or the run. You can back it down a little bit. And sometimes backing off, just working through that bad patch, all of a sudden you come into a good patch again and you're able to do it. And that's kind of like this workout. You might think, oh, this is just going to get worse and worse and worse. But you also might surprise yourself and say, oh, I actually felt pretty good on this third and final effort. Always, I would say always leave the possibility for hope in any in life, but in any physical aspect. Always leave some hope in there that things can improve. And that really, the sport of Ironman, every Ironman I did, that was the most, I don't know if it was Jim or somebody else who gave me that advice, but they said, whenever you're in a really difficult patch, just believe that it's going to improve. And the same applies to a workout like this. It might feel really challenging through a 2-minute block, but leave the possibility open that you can get to the next one and feel better. Whether you do or don't remains to be seen, but you have to think it's possible. Another minute 25 easy here. One of my favorite books is, you might have read it, but Dina Castor, amazing runner, retired now, obviously, but she wrote a book called Let Your Mind Run. And it was one of my favorite reads because you can just see how even at the absolute elite level, obviously she's an incredible athlete, but how important that mental aspect was to her success, but also to her to her success in both training and racing. And when you cultivate that mindset, the same way when we train over and over and over, you're putting in the work, you show up on race day, you know you're ready. You want to know that your mind is also ready. So when you cultivate that mindset you need, you're going to have it on race day. That's going to be your default. Whatever we practice in training is what we are going to fall to on race day. It's not a rah, rah, rah kind of positivity, fake positivity. You can accept that something's really uncomfortable, but you can still work through it. 15 more seconds here. And this is the final set. You guys are doing great. Again, if you need to back it down at all to get through this final one, no problem. You're still going to get the benefit. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, zone 4. So work through each minute. That middle set can often feel the hardest. These 2 minutes will likely feel the hardest. You're coming off a couple minutes or 5 minutes of easy pedaling. Work through this and you're going to be there. You're going to get through this final one. This is the part where if you want, coming out of the aero bars, no problem. Just like you were going up a little steep climb, open the lungs up, give yourself a little bit easier of a breathing position for the zone 4 effort. Ten more seconds here and we're down at 95%. Good job. Work through this minute and then we're in zone 3, piece by piece. Forty more seconds here. Good work. Twenty seconds here. That zone 3 is coming. Work through it. Everybody looks good and in control. This is impressive. Five seconds. 2, 1, into zone 3, into that arrow position. Give yourself the minute for heart rate to follow that power, to come down. It's possible in this third set, heart rate might stay a little higher throughout. You put in a lot of quality work. You've already put in 12 minutes or 14 minutes so far of zone 4 up to this point. But give your body that minute and a half for the heart rate to catch up to what the power requirement's doing. The reason we also shift power around is because it's very easy. Well, obviously you're getting into the rhythm, and all 3 of these efforts are the same pattern of 2 minute zone 4, 3 minute zone 3. The reason we shift around is because it's so easy to always get used to, I mean, there's a bunch of physiological stuff on the inside that comes from going hard and having to recover this way versus building towards it. But when we do everything the same, if we always do our sustained efforts where we're at zone 3, then we go to zone 4 and this, we get used to something. Part of training is finding different ways to accomplish the same thing, different ways to apply what's essentially the same stimulus. So by reversing it, just the same way we do in the pool, not every effort is a full takeout 25 or 100, but we have to, with training, you almost need to keep the body guessing a little bit. You adapt to whatever stimulus you put on there. So if you do just the same workout over and over and over, you might get really good at doing a workout in a certain way, but that might not be what you need on race day. So we have to cover all the bases and make sure we're prepared for whatever we face. Just over a minute in zone 3, and then you're back up at zone 4. You got this. The more you do workouts like this, the more we train the body to quote unquote recover in zone 3. You'll be amazed at how relatively easy that standalone zone 3 can feel. It's also interesting sometimes when you're just doing sustained zone 3 efforts, you can feel like, oh, these are really challenging. This is kind of pushing me a bit. And when you're changing gears like this from zone 4 down to zone 3, you realize how much different those 2 efforts are, 95 versus 85. 20 more seconds here, and we're going to ramp up again. As a reminder, this is the part, if you need to come out, open the chest up, breathe a little more. Cadence is your choice. Higher cadence is going to put that strain more on the cardiovascular system. Lower cadence is going to put it more on the muscular. 2, 1, and you're into it. If you can work through this 2-minute block, you're going to get through this entire 12-minute block. This is the hardest part of this workout, this 2-minute block right here. When you get to the final 2 minutes, you know you're going to work through it, but this middle 2 minutes will push you. Good job. You're almost through this first minute. Power is going to back down to 95%, so a tiny bit lower. You got this. The comfort, I mean, there's discomfort, but the way everybody's pedaling, the way you're working through this is dramatically different than how we were getting through it a few months ago. When we did a similar workout, reversed, but with lower power demands. It's amazing to see everybody progress as we kind of come into the meat of this season. 30 more seconds here. Work through it, and then you get your zone 3 recovery, and you'll settle back in. 15 more seconds here. Three, two, one, and now 3 minutes sustained. Take this 3 minutes, zone 3, to readdress form. It's a hard workout. Form might have slipped a little bit throughout. You want to look the same on this one as we did on the first one. Smooth pedaling, driving the knees. We don't want rocking back and forth. If we, if I'm just looking at the top of you on the screen, I don't want to be able to see this kind of movement. I want to see just smooth pedaling that comes from the engaged core, good position on the bike. This workout is also that great opportunity to practice something you might do on race day. It's amazing what sliding a centimeter forward on your saddle or a centimeter further back, how differently the muscles engage. So it's not like you're on your bike and you have to sit in one position on the saddle and you cannot move. You can move forward a little bit. You'll engage the glutes, you'll engage kind of muscles a little bit differently, and you'll notice the same thing if you push back a little more on the saddle. So work through this zone 3, but you are in the home stretch of this workout. There's a lot of talk in triathlon about if you want to say ketosis or metabolic efficiency and how do I burn more fat and this and that. And you see a lot of people trying to maybe hack their way to it. A workout like this, at the end of the day, there's 2 ways to become, or there are a few ways to become metabolically, quote unquote, more efficient. Putting in this type of training, sustained zone 3, teaching the body to shift between you're burning through sugar in a zone 4 effort, and boom, you're back at a lower intensity where you can utilize more fat, where you can utilize fuel sources a little differently. The best way to do that is through doing the work, is through doing this work, through doing the runs, doing the swims, not through trying to hack it by starving yourself or something like that. Our work, the work you're doing today, especially, one of the biggest limiters is nutrition. If you're not properly fueled coming into this workout or during it, it's going to be a big struggle to get through. Proper fueling, proper carbohydrate intake, that is what supports an effort like today. "25 more seconds here, and then you're in your final 2 minutes of the workout. And I know everybody's going to work through 2 minutes. That's the beauty of it. Final 2 minutes, you can really envision the finish line of that race. Finish strong. 10 seconds here. Through these final 2 minutes, 3, 2, 1, here you go. I'm going to be a little quieter, and I want you guys tap into that mental place. This is the hard moment of the race. It's the challenging moment, but also the one you know you're going to get through. So push through this and just settle into the effort. Twenty more seconds here. Power drops a little for the final minute, but you guys, you're making it through. Three, 2, 1, and we're at 95%. Final minute. 1 minute, everybody gets through. You're never stopping a minute from the finish of a race or a workout. Forty more seconds here. Good job. Final 25 seconds. Just push through. You don't even need to have a focal point right now. You're just going to work through this last moment of this workout. and then spin it out. Three, two, one, and easy. And you are done. Cadence, do not listen to what I just said on Zwift. You do not have 5 minutes at 92% or that cadence. You have a nice, relaxed cool down at whatever power you want it to be at. It can be lower than what we have. You guys did great. This is a really challenging workout. This is a very high value one, but there's no easy way through this. When you are recovering at 85%, the demand on your body, it's so much different than if we're just doing threshold pure recovery and repeating that pattern. You guys did a great job getting through it today. One thing I want you to think about as you work through this, you might not be conscious of it at the time, but when you look back at it, is what mental tools did you use to get through the hardest moments? Every time we're doing a hard physical workout, whether you're conscious of it or not, you're developing that mental skill set to push through the hard workouts that are coming up, but most importantly, for race day. Same way we train the physical, we need to train the mind. A lot of times we do it without even thinking about it. But from what I saw today, I've seen you guys, I guess, in a lot more pain, basically, from what I can see on the faces and the looks and everything. And while you definitely pushed to get through this, you all did it. You all made it smoothly. And I'm proud of you for doing that. I'm proud of you for embracing this process. This style of workout it was one that I greatly enjoyed because my body was suited to these kind of efforts. But the same way, maybe if you love those 40-20s we do, and you're dreading a sustained workout like this, good job committing to it and getting through it. As always, a lot of times we get the biggest benefit from some of the things that we don't like the most. All right, another minute of easy spinning. I wanted to share with you guys, Jim and I have been working for the past few months to create a cycling plan. Same way you guys might be familiar with the Tower 26 subscription program for the swim. That program helped me so much during my time in triathlon. That was what I followed for the swim. Jerry took me from not swimming since middle school, and I wasn't very good then. I promise you, some of you were faster than me in middle school, to breaking 25 minutes for a half Ironman. So it was pretty amazing being part of that program. And when I got back into coaching, Jim and I sat down and I said, we want to do the same thing for people on the bike. We want to provide some type of foundation that people can draw on, because there's so many crazy plans out there these days. There's so many kind of misguided ones where every day you're just doing super, super intense efforts. And Jim and I wanted to create something that was sustained, that could bring somebody through an entire season. Doesn't matter if their goal was to race Leadville, doesn't matter if their goal was to really improve the bike within triathlon. And a program where if you stick to it, much like the swim program, you nail 2 or 3 or ideally all 4 of those key workouts a week, you're going to see improvement through the season. So we're just wanted to share that with you guys. We just launched that. It's the Tower 26 cycling subscription plan. If obviously all you guys are on here, but if you know anybody just looking for a little bit of guidance at it's a very approachable price point, share it with them. And really, we just want to give people more of this. We want to give people more guidance and share all the experiences we've had and help people have a better experience in the sport. But thank you guys, as always, for showing up here on Thursday mornings. I hope to be back riding with you as soon as I can. Until then, I'll be hanging out with you like this, if you guys can put up with it. It's more, I guess, like being on the pool deck, but I love seeing all of you putting in the work. Thank you for bearing with me till I can get pedaling again. Honestly, when I had this injury, this was one of the things I was most concerned about, because I love riding with you guys on Thursday mornings. So hope you all enjoyed. Good job working through it. And I'll see you on the coach's call, and then see you next week.
Awesome work, buddy. Awesome work. That worked well. Later, guys. Good weekend.